You know Gray Bar for electrical parts, but there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Gray Bar does that.
In person in the Big Apple, episode number 35 of the show before the show. 36?
I think it's 35. Let's go with 35.
This happened it was like episode 28. I forgot what it was. And every ensuing episode since. Yeah. Well, I'll count us in, and then I forget immediately. I'll go, all right, 3, 2, Sam, what is this, episode 32? Yeah. And then we have to check and see. It's a very regular thing.
If this is still in the podcast, you know it's
right, exactly.
35.
Then you know it's 35, or else I just left it in to showcase my own idiocy. It's the Tyler Mon and Sam Dykstra Hour, the minor league baseball podcast, the show before the show, in which I talk like a moron and we listen to how smart Sam is. And we get to do it in person this week. We had a week off last week. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And today we're doing it. We've got a window cracked so you can hear the New York City ambiance in the background. We'll have a nice long sustained honk later during Benjamin Hill's interview. and yeah, but it's good. What's going on?
I'm good.
How was the holiday?
It was good. It was everything went well. To update people on the race, it went really well. Embarrassed my mom a lot by wearing that low number. So
awesome.
That worked out. I got nice and full, watched the football, all that stuff. How was the trip over here?
It was good. It's been good. I get to hang out with my niece, which is always awesome. She's 1.5, and I think it's like sort of figuring out who I am now, which is very cool. Yeah. So I'm into that. And it's my family. We do an entire full Italian dinner before the turkey on Thanksgiving.
Oh, okay.
So we had like a full portion of like lasagna and meatballs and sausage and pork and all that stuff. So I'm already at like 100% capacity, and then the turkey and 22 side dishes.
Oh my word!
Come out. So yeah, no, it was fantastic. It's very very gluttonous. But we are back. It feels like a very extended break because that's the first time that we've taken a week off since we started the show back before the beginning of the 2015 season, and a whole lot of news to get to. So we're going to dive right into Three Strikes here in this first week of December, our first podcast of December, and we're really excited for today's guest, who is going to be our topic of conversation in Strike One. The all-time minor league home run king, Mike Hessman, will join the show coming up a little bit later on today. Mike Hessman, he of the 433rd home run, which broke the all-time minor league home run record. That came this past August. He finished off his career in September. We found out this week when he tweeted that he was going to be hanging up his spikes and trading in his bat for a fungo, as he said. We have since learned that Mike Hessman will be moving into a coaching role with the Detroit Tigers organization. There's a whole lot of anticipation, and you'll hear in the interview later on. We asked, have you been in contact with teams? What's the next step going to be for you? And he said, yeah, I have. Can't talk about it yet. And then it was like 3 hours later we found out he's going to the Connecticut Tigers, which is really cool.
We really wanted him to break the news on the podcast, which I guess is not a great idea considering the podcast was coming out days later. But yeah, congrats to Mike.
Yeah.
He officially got that job. When I was asking him, coaching could be anywhere. It could be a high school team. It could be developing, local talent, could bet any of those things. So to land on his feet back in the minors, get right back into it, meaning we get to talk to him when the New York Penn League starts up again. Hopefully he'll be one of our first interviews. So that's exciting for us, exciting for him.
Very exciting. Congratulations to Mike. He'll join the Class A short season Connecticut Tigers in the New York Penn League. And Sam, what is Mike Hessman's legacy? When we encapsulate Mike Hessman as a career, and I wanted to say to him when we got done with the interview yesterday, which again you'll hear coming up here in just about 10 minutes or so, it's probably the first interview his entire career in which nobody uttered the words Crash Davis. But that's how people think of Mike Hessman.
In that.
Yeah, I know. Same here. That's how people think of Mike Hessman. He's the real-life Crash Davis, quote-unquote. He broke the minor league home run record. There is a sizable portion of people who I don't think even realize Mike had a bunch of separate calls to the major leagues. He played in the Japanese major leagues with the Oryx Buffaloes over in Nippon Professional Baseball. So I think he's slighted a little bit in that people don't realize that. There's also this crowd, and we're just reporters. We don't really take sides on things, but there's this crowd that to me is just overly narcissistic and annoying in, well, you broke the minor league home run record. That's like winning the NIT. That was one of the comments that we got in response to a tweet. Come on.
I hate
the guy
that so
made
much.
20 years a career in professional baseball. come on.
Meaning people wanted him back.
Right,
it's
exactly.
Not like
Year
he
after
signed
year
up
after
and
year.
just said, like, okay, I'm playing baseball this year.
Right.
He had to find teams that were willing to sign him year after year after.
It's not just showing up on Black Friday. Like, he was just there, and so they gave him a job.
It's not a home run derby where you show up to your local diamond and just be like, I'm going to hit 433 homers.
Right.
You had to find people willing to take him on. Just the persistency.
For 20 years.
Right. And at that point where you are in the minors and you realize you are kind of a quad A player, which he is. Like, there's no argument about that. But you have to be persistent about it. You have to know that, like, listen, this might not be my year, but I'm going to try again.
Right.
And you'll hear him talk about it in the interview, and he says, just now he doesn't have to put in that work anymore, and how much kind of a relief that is. But that is a lot of off-season workouts, getting your body ready, a lot of times being a free agent, trying to show off for teams, showing that you still have that power, that you can still, hit the ball a country mile like he did this year, even with Toledo. And the thing that sticks with me too is his personality. Mm-hmm. I mean, you'll hear, we heard it this year, we've heard it in the past with him. Just teams like bringing him back because he's a good leader in the clubhouse. Once he got to that age where he was a veteran, he was already a coach. He was already, your second, third hitting coach, whatever it may be. So now he's going to move into that role officially. The Tigers saw it firsthand. Now they get to see officially how it does. And yeah, like I said, I'm excited to see what he can do with the young players and what he'll do with those guys.
Hitting 450-ish home runs in minor league baseball is almost more impressive than doing it at the major league level, because you go through so much more. And we use it often, even though it's a term I think all of us hate, but the grind of minor league baseball, of the bus trips, of the hotels, of the meals, of the salary that you're making in minor league baseball comparatively to what you'd be making if you were doing something at the major league level, it's almost more impressive to be able to slog through that and continue to come back, continue to bounce back year after year after year, and accomplish that than it is at any other level of sports. And so for Mike Hessman, the legacy is a hell of a legacy to me. And that's the most impressive thing about Mike Hessman, is it's not only that he was able to put together such an impressive career numbers-wise, but he's able to do it with that longevity, which you never see in minor league baseball these days. So it's an incredible career.
Yeah, and I mean, he could have just stuck in Japan and probably would have made a lot more money there. And he decided to come back to give it another shot in AAA and that kind of stuff. So, and you shouldn't feel sorry for him either. He did get his chances in the majors.
Yeah, right.
He did get those tastes. It's not like,
we'll hear about that a little bit.
Yeah, he talked about just hitting that first major league homer is something he'll always have.
Yeah.
Which is what the vast majority of minor leaguers never get to taste either. So he got the whole package, even more so obviously with the record that he'll have, probably for a very, very long time. I don't know if it'll be broken, in the next couple decades, maybe in our lifetimes.
He hit over 20 home runs in 13 professional seasons, and just a remarkable career for Mike Hessman, and a big congratulations to him. And again, you'll hear from him. We're doing kind of a post-mortem on his career and on his on the interview, but you'll hear the interviewer coming up in 10 minutes or so. Strike 2 this week, Sam. Organization All-Stars continuing. We took a brief pause in those, but we are continuing. I know I've got 2 left. We've got a handful coming up this week and on into next week, and then through the end of the month. Our final one is the Washington Nationals on the 23rd of December, rolling through in alphabetical order. And this week, 2 organizations that in recent years have become known, obviously, for a lot more spending at the major league level rather than building for the minor league ranks, but now really starting to come along in that regard. It's the New York Yankees and the Philadelphia Phillies. There's some really exciting pieces in both. What I think has been really fun to watch is the way that these fan bases have embraced homegrown guys over the last few seasons. But if you looked at these 2 systems right now, who stacks up better to you? Who has the brighter future among these 2 teams?
When I initially thought about this, I kind of want to go with the Phillies just because they have that really top talent. J.P. Crawford, Aaron Nola, graduated this year. I really liked what they did with that Cole Hamels trade. They took some of the best prospects from a very deep Ranger system, and now they're on their side. Nick Williams, Jorge Alfaro. The list goes on for that group. But I really, looking at this Yankees organization All-Stars, I really like what the Yankees have right now because it's right on the cusp. Mm-hmm. I mean, Gary Sanchez, we talked about him plenty this Fall League season. I know he didn't end up winning the Fall League MVP, but he was the Fall League MVP for me, for whatever that's worth.
Very close.
Yeah.
Very
close. So you saw what happened with Greg Bird this year, and he kind of replaced Teixeira, who went through his own injury. And Yankees fans embraced him because he did better in the majors than he did at AAA. Mm-hmm. And then you just keep going down the list. I mean, Jorge Mateo, he's down at the bottom there, but he led the minors in stolen bases this year, 82. We'll get to him in a little bit. Aaron Judge is another guy. Didn't quite do it at AAA, but just has monster power. These aren't necessarily franchise players yet, but they're good pieces that I think the Yankees can plug in. And going forward, I think that they'll make the Yankees a better team rather than going out and signing big-time free agents like they did with Ellsbury, McCann, whatever.
That's been one of the most fascinating things is the way these big-market teams have gone from... Even the teams that are still spending a ton of money are loaded with talent now. Because you look at... Well, I mean, obviously these two clubs and the way they've spent in the past, but the Boston Red Sox just gave David Price, like, the GDP of a small nation... They're loaded with talent minor league-wise. The Dodgers have a payroll of billions of dollars, and they're loaded at the minor league level. So that's been really cool. We no longer really see these major league organizations that have just combed through and raked their minor league systems over the coals in order to acquire major league talent. Even the teams that spend big still have a lot of those prizes behind them. Maybe the Angels are about the exception to that rule right now, but that's been really, really cool to see. Strike three, Sam, this is the latest in your pieces that are some of my favorites, but speed scores, a piece that you wrote this week for the site on speed scores, some of the best speed and talent in minor league baseball. There's a difference between... It's one of our good pals, Brett Phillips of the Brewers organization. One of the things that he told me last year, that's kind of always the way that I explain how speed plays in baseball. He said... Prior to the 2014 season, he was really good at running fast in a straight line. And then he had to figure out a way to be more flexible. That was one of the things the Astros, when he was an Astros prospect at the time, really wanted him to work on. There's a big difference between being fast and being fast on a baseball field. So take us through this story.
So the way speed scores kind of work is that we like you said, there's many ways you can measure speed. You can do 40 time. You can do, if you're a scout, you scout how fast they go from home to first on a hit, whatever. This is kind of a way of boiling it down based on triples, based on stolen bases, caught stealing, and runs. And it's a mix. It's a four-component thing. I implore you, if you're listening right now, check out the story. I write about it much better than I can explain it over the microphone. But the way it works is it's a 0 to 10. Generally, anything above 7 is an excellent. So this isn't quite like an A score, B score, C score type thing. This year, Anthony Ghost led the majors with a 7.5. David Ortiz was last at 0.9. So that's the major type we're talking about here. Now in the minors, it's actually a bigger berth because you have these guys who are just so fast and they're going up against catchers who are not so good in the lower levels. So when I went through, and I just limited this to top 100 prospects because it's just easier to plug all the numbers in. But the guys who led top 100 prospects in speed score were Yoan Moncada and Jorge Mateo, who both had 8.8. I think Moncada was slightly above that, which is insane.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's just such a high speed score. But the way that worked out, Mateo, like I said before, led the minors this year in stolen bases with 82, had tons of runs, 11 triples. Those are just all stats that speed score shines on really, really well. Moncada was incredibly efficient at stealing bases, was 49 and 52. And I think that what played into that was as he got later into the year at Greenville, saw that I can run whenever I want. And he just kept going. 45 of his steals came in his final 56 games. Only 4 came in the first 25. So that's just a confidence
Once
thing.
you get that confidence where you know you can pick your spot and go, especially for guys at that level at that age, then from there it's just all building on that.
Yeah, and he was at the lowest full season level.
Right.
So I think he knew he could run on these guys, and that's essentially what happened. So that's what we're talking about here. What I like to do with this kind of stuff, because we have actually speed grades through MiLB Pipeline. They all give these guys run tool grades on a 20 to 80 scale. So it's a slightly different scale. So I want to get it all in the same thing. So I use standard deviation and mean. And what it essentially does is it gets everything on a scale of how far are they away from the mean speed score and mean run tool grade. And the guys who actually overperformed were a lot of rookies, a lot of guys who were drafted this year. And I think part of that goes into, these are guys who eventually will be average runners in the minors, but they get into the Gulf Coast leagues, the Arizona leagues, the New York Pens, what have you. And they realize they can just go, and they're going to keep going and going. Daz Cameron was one of those guys. He had the biggest difference between, he's considered a 55 runner, fairly average, but he had an 8.7 speed score. So I think the Astros going forward, are going to try to get him to run as much, but don't expect that going forward. What normally happens with this stuff is I would trust the scouting grades over the speed scores.
Right, guys regress a little bit. I mean, you're not going to see these wild vacillations between the two extremes, but still, it gives you an idea of the potential of these guys going forward.
Right, yeah. But the one guy that really stood out to me, he was the only full season guy in the top 5 was Max Kepler, who we've talked about a lot in terms of his breakout ability this year. He had a 7.2 speed score, which was higher than anything else he's done in his career. Surprise, surprise. There were so many career highs this year. And, between what he showed in power, what he showed in average, and now speed, I'm excited to see what he can do. He's probably going to be at AAA to start next year, but is that going to carry over? We'll see.
He is a very fun talent, Max Kepler. He's one of those guys I'm excited to watch in 2016. So that's 3 strikes for this week's edition of Minor League Baseball's The Show Before the Show podcast, and we are super excited for our guest on this week's episode of the show. The all-time minor league home run king, Mike Hessman, joins the show to look back on his phenomenal career, which is wrapped up after the 2015 campaign, sets the minor league home run record, and he has turned in his playing career for a coaching career. He will start with the Connecticut Tigers. After Mike, we'll hear from Benjamin Hill. A couple more rebrands to get to. Winter meetings are coming up, so we'll be hearing about that as well. And then we'll be back to wrap this thing up. Mike Hessman joins the show next. It's not often that we get to bring guys onto the show who are some of the real titan names in all of minor league baseball, but we get to do that today on the 35th edition of the Show Before the Show, as the all-time minor league home run king Mike Hessman joins us from South Carolina, where we made the mistake of asking what the weather was like there compared to what it is here. So it seems like retirement has got to be treating you pretty well, Mike, because it's in the 70s and sunny, and that's, the sun shining on the next step in your career. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Yeah, we've got a beautiful day here, that's for sure.
Well, Mike, let's dive into just this last few days for you. You made the announcement on Twitter. It was actually your first tweet ever. So I have to ask you, did you send the tweet, or did you have somebody type out the tweet and send it? Because that's a big moment.
No, I did. I mean, I had a few people asking me what I was going to do, this and that. I didn't really know what the best bet was, so I was like, I'm going to. I'm new to the whole social media thing, so I was like, I'm going to try to send a tweet out. That might just be the best bet, and everyone can see it, I guess. And, I wasn't expecting the response that I got from it. So I appreciate everybody's kind words and thoughts and things like that. And just been, it's been a hectic couple of days, but it's been awesome.
What has the whole process been like for you getting into this offseason? I mean, it was this summer you broke the all-time minor league home run record with number 433, and that alone is an accomplishment that you could ride into the sunset on. But, year after year, there's always that drive. There's always that desire to come back and lace them up again and go through spring training and do all of that. What was it this year that led you to decide that it was time to hang it up?
I've obviously loved playing the game. It's kind of crossed my mind the last couple of years. More so this year, obviously, it's set in a little more. Just battling the injuries and trying to keep your body in check, and the bus rides and the travel and just the grind of it all. And then I had an opportunity to come back to Toledo and get reunited with my manager, Larry Parrish, and hitting guy, Leon Bull Durham, and having an opportunity to go back there and play for those guys for a few more years, man, I couldn't pass that up. So it was awesome to get back together with them. And then, obviously I don't play the game for the numbers or the records or anything like that. Just been extremely blessed to be able to reach that number, and get that record broken, and extremely thankful for it. But again, the last couple of years, I've been kind of contemplating and knowing that it was getting closer and closer.
And Mike, I remember we talked at one point this season. I think it was when you tied the record. You would say at the end of the career, when you were done, you would take some time and look back on everything, and you weren't going to allow that to happen until you would finally announce that you were retiring. And now with that announcement, have you taken any time to look back at your career? Look at all the homers, all the numbers. I know you say you don't do it for that, but have you taken that time to look back at what you've accomplished in your career?
No, not yet. I haven't had the. I don't know. It was something that I've never really paid a lot of focus or attention to. I just wanted to go out there and enjoy playing the game and play it the right way. But with this past year, with the record and things like that, I've come across a lot of cool stuff, and some people have given me a lot of cool things. And I got a binder full of some stuff to go through and check out. And I saw some old scorecards that got flashed through Twitter and things like that with some old teammates. So it definitely brought back a bunch of old memories. And I'll definitely, when I get some time, I'll definitely sit back and kind of hash it all over again.
Mike, one of the really cool things was when you made the announcement, I mean, you kind of noted it a minute ago, the reaction was there immediately. And it was neat to see not just from fans, but from members of the baseball media who have covered you through your entire career. I mean, I know there were writers tweeting out scorecards of games that they had covered of yours all the way back in the late 90s after you were drafted and that sort of stuff. What has that reaction meant to not only get so much reaction from the fans and the people who have watched you through your entire career, to hear from guys who you've played with, or guys that you've played against, or administrators or coaches or people in the media, the embrace of your career? What has that felt like over these last few days?
It's so awesome. Obviously you don't get a lot of that playing in the minor leagues or hear a lot about that type of stuff, but for that many people to kind of take notice and to see what took place, and just reaching out for the career that I had, it means a lot to me. I'm very thankful for everyone that's reached out, and like you said, I've heard from a lot of old teammates, and started making some new contacts through baseball and different people, and it's just been a great process.
And when you made the announcement, in part of the tweet, you said it was time to swap out a bat for a fungo. I was kind of wondering, as you're looking to make a move into coaching, where are you looking to coach? And as a guy who, has performed so well and so long at the pro level, what's the biggest thing you think you can pass on to hitters, at any level going forward?
Just the persistency, the trying to stay consistent day in and day out, making sure that you got a routine, a game plan. It's a grind playing 142, 160 games, whatever it may be. So just trying to help kids develop a game plan, develop an approach, and just kind of get them on the right track and kind of share what I had to do to make sure that I was ready to play the game and ready to compete day in and day out, and pass along some just a lot of the good times and good memories that I've had, and the struggles and things like that. So hopefully they can learn from that, take something from it. And I do look forward to staying in the game, hopefully coaching and working with the younger kids coming up through the game now and trying to help their career so that they can move on and hopefully become Major League ball players.
And have any offers come in yet since you made that announcement, or are you just kind of sitting back and enjoying retirement for now?
Yeah, no, I've talked to a few people. I can't get into the details of it all right now, but I've had some good conversations with a couple clubs, and like I said, I'm looking forward to staying in the game, and just can't get into the ins and outs and details of it yet.
Mike, obviously the big moment of this season was August 4th. You broke the home run record, hit a grand slam to do it, which was pretty cool in itself. But you've had a ton of really cool moments throughout your career. You've made major league appearances with the Braves, the Tigers, the Mets, the Astros, the Reds. A lot of people probably don't know you played in Japan as well for the Oryx Buffaloes over there. What are some of the moments in your career that stand out? Because not many guys at any level get a career that spans, 3 decades and 20 total seasons. But when you look back, what are going to be some of the memories that you hold dearest? Because it's probably a lot different from the inside than it is from the outside. But what are some of those things you'll carry into the coaching side of things?
Well, obviously my first major league hit, was a home run off Mike Stanton. Your first hit in the big league is always special. Your first call up, you'll never forget that as well. Winning a couple championships in Toledo was awesome. We had amazing teams in 05 and 06. 05, I think we won close to 90 games in the minor leagues, which is extremely hard and rare. There's a handful of home runs that stick out, obviously. I like to just kind of sit back and realize that I've been all over the world because of the game. I've done all the winter balls everywhere. I've been to China. I've been to Australia, Japan, and it's just amazing. The game's taken me around the world to be able to play, and just like I said, extremely thankful and blessed to be able to do it for that long.
And I remember when you did break the record, there was a little bit of controversy in that the guy who caught the ball wasn't giving it back yet, and I hadn't seen any update. Can you give us any update on that? Hopefully it's a positive one. Have you been able to get that ball back?
No, still don't have the ball. The guy wasn't even in the stadium. He was just out on the street and came across it. So I don't know a ton of details. I know the Mud Hens had word worked with the guy trying to figure something out and to, offer him a few things for it and swap out some stuff for it. But he still hasn't, I don't know what he's done with it yet. So it's a little bit frustrating. Obviously, I kept my bat that I have, and I donated the jersey to the Hall of Fame. So I do have something with it. But, it'd always be nice to have that ball. You play this game for that long and get that much hard work and dedication into the game. And 20 years, all you'd like is one baseball, and you can't get it back. So, like I said, it's frustrating, but, I still have some stuff from that game and some equipment from it. So, like I said, they tried to keep me out of the loop. I don't think they wanted to get me, I don't know, frustrated, I guess. I don't know if I can say frustrated, but just wish it would have worked out. And but I know that the Mud Hens had done everything they could to retrieve that ball and to get it back, but the guy just wasn't willing to do anything with it. So
we'll start the social media push, Mike.
Yeah.
We'll get it trending.
Yeah,
This be the start of that campaign awesome. Right here.
Yeah, I'd like to have it back.
Mike, let me ask you this, and we'll get you out of here quickly. I know it's the retired life, I would imagine, already feels a lot different from what this would have been like if you were getting ready for another season. What have those changes felt like? I mean, obviously it's kind of a cool time of year to be able to announce that you get to spend time with family and you get to do all the things that the holiday season brings. But what, as a retired guy right now, feels different from maybe how this would have been, knowing that a few months from now you'll get ready again, you'll head to spring training wherever it is for a given season. Has it felt a little bit more relaxed? Have you been doing anything, taking a little bit more time to go hunting or fishing or whatever that stuff is for the off season? What's it felt like for you?
Yeah, it's felt great. I honestly haven't stepped foot in a gym yet this off season, so that's kind of nice.
We're both the same way in that regard.
You got to make sure you still stay in shape, and not let yourself go. And I was like, I will, but it's been nice to not have to get up early and get to that grind and get in there and get your workouts in and stuff. But I've been doing a lot more lessons this off season than I normally do. So trying to get back to the kids in the area and help them with some hitting instruction, and been pretty blessed. Been able to 2 days ago we went out and played 36 holes of golf, which was extremely nice, and had a nice little golf day, and then enjoying time with the family. I've been able to daughter's grown, so I've been able to take her out to the woods, do a little hunting with her, and take her along with me and run around. So it's been nice.
He is the all-time minor league home run king, Mike Hessman, and at the sunset of a really remarkable career. And you said it a minute ago, you get to donate your jersey from that tie-breaking game, that record-setting game to the Hall of Fame, and a lot of baseball history in that career. Mike, congratulations on an unbelievable career, and we'll be obviously talking to you, I'm sure, down the road in a coaching capacity. But enjoy this offseason and the next chapter in your career, man. Thanks a ton for joining us.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me, guys.
We came up to the room to record our interview with Ben like 45 minutes ago, and we're finally underway. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Tyler. How you doing? And it's really okay. I have literally nothing to do in the off season. I just wait until the season to start. That's how it is for everyone in baseball.
We had a very New York moment today. I stepped onto the L train, and I see this guy walking toward me, and it was you. We got to ride to work as coworkers today. It was amazing.
We did. It was a tender moment.
Yeah.
All this talk about non-tendering in the baseball world, and this is a very tender moment.
Sam, next time we're going to invite you to join.
Just the three guys planned that on the subway over. Just that whole setup and that punchline.
We were sitting there the entire time like, okay, what's a good joke we can open with?
Yeah.
Well, welcome back. We had the week off. You had the vacation a few weeks ago. It feels like it's been forever, but we've missed, I guess, a lot in the rebrand, refresh offseason, but also, that stuff never gets stale anyway. The most recent one yesterday, the Norfolk Tides come out with a new look, and that was a team that I think was pretty sorely in need of one. But they come out with a very nautical-themed refresh. Tell us all about the Norfolk look.
Yeah, well, you talked about the old look and how the team was in need of a refresh. I would agree with that. And I talked to the general manager in advance of last night's unveiling, Joe Gregory, and he made two good points about the need to change their logo, which had been, just the word Tides with kind of a little cresting wave above it. he said, one, Tides is not a tangible thing. It's nothing you can touch or feel. So
it's a really historic name.
Yeah,
the Tidewater Tides. I mean, that name has been around for a long time.
Right. It goes back some 50-odd years, and they were initially the Tidewater Tides, so it did make more sense then. It still makes sense because Norfolk is surrounded by a lot of water, and shipbuilding's a huge industry, and the Navy and all that. But Tides being something that wasn't tangible, that didn't have really a direct correlation to how you would represent a tide, and two, the primary color scheme was blue. And they were a Mets affiliate for the better part of 4 decades, but since 2007 they've been with the Orioles. So I think it was long overdue to do something that was very much their own and that didn't have these old New York Mets connotations for an affiliation that has not been in effect for the better part of the last decade. So they really changed it up. They work with Brandeis, known for being the boldest new logo designer in the industry, and they have this new color scheme of jade green, orange. And it's a very unique look, for sure. And they went with a seahorse as what will represent the Tides going forward. And Joe Gregory, again, who's the GM, said that they soon hope to expand into a galaxy of sea characters. And I'm not sure what that means, that they're going to have a lot of specific new logos. But for right now, it's a seahorse holding a trident, where the 3 tips of the trident kind of form a letter N. And an alternate, or a road cap that's an anchor, an N-shaped anchor wrapped in chains, and that represents, again, the nautical theme and the shipbuilding industry and all that stuff. So it's a pretty bold look. The color scheme is very unique. I think it's going to take some getting used to for a lot of people. But one thing that I think is really not debatable, or not easily debatable, is that they needed something new. So I think it's a great move, just in that this was a team that was long overdue in updating its look.
Yeah, and kind of since the last time we talked, too, the Louisville Bats updated their look a little bit, put in red to. You were talking before about affiliate changes and how as a Reds affiliate they kind of needed that red look. What was your thoughts on what the Bats did, kind of quickly?
Well, that was another team that I think was just really in need of an update. They had this purple and black color scheme, which calls to mind the Rockies, if anything, but they're a Reds affiliate and they play in the state of Ohio. And the old logo was very kind of abstract looking. And now the bat has a little more life, a little more character, and it's a more conservative logo, but again, one that was really overdue. And I think going to the Reds colors to represent the affiliate and having a bat that has a little more character is, I think, a great move.
Ben, there was a really good, one of the best stories, I think, of the offseason so far. You put together a batting around column that laid out all the dominoes that fall from basically one move. The New Britain Rockcats will be the Hartford Yard Ghosts in 2016, and it seems like that's just something that happens. It's a move. There was obviously, you wrote a bunch of stories about kind of the way that the New Britain community felt about it, the people who were upset about the name, or the people who were upset about the move, the people who were excited about the name, excited about the move. But as your lead in that story said, nothing in baseball happens in a vacuum. And the amount of dominoes that fall just predicated on New Britain's move was fascinating. Take us through how you uncovered all of that and just kind of the way that all of those pieces come together.
Yeah, it's tough writing for minorleaguebaseball.com, MiLB.com, in an official capacity, and that we don't want to write about things too much before they happen and engage in speculation and rumors, but we do need to keep track of what might happen, and batting around is a good way. I call it locally sourced. So I write that column based on, really just looking around. Use Twitter as a good source, just making sure I can compile links from local media and keep track of what's happening. So in the case of, there's the New Britain Rockcats. They moved to Hartford. Therefore, New Britain Stadium is empty, and New Britain wants a team, an independent team. Meanwhile, the Camden River Sharks, their lease is not renewed, and they basically dissolve as a franchise. So a new Atlantic League independent franchise then moves into the void in New Britain that was created when the Rockcats went to the Yard Goats. Then you have Camden's Campbell Field open,
which is beautiful.
A beautiful field that had been home to an independent league team, and then you start to hear, well, that's in the New York Penn League footprint, and might a New York Penn League team move there? And that's where we are now. No one is talking about it officially, but we do have some the stadium is owned by the city of Camden, and we do have some Camden County officials saying, with no detail, but we are talking to interested parties who might be interested in moving a team to Camden. The speculation is that it's the New York Penn League. Camden is in the Phillies territory, so if it's an affiliated team, they'd have to waive their territorial rights, and then it becomes, so what New York Penn League team could move to Camden, and then you go to the usual suspects of the classic New York Penn League markets that have a lot of history but unfortunately don't have the fan support. So this is total speculation, but you start to think, could Batavia finally move? Auburn, perhaps Williamsport. Those are the ones that get thrown around. I want to again emphasize that this is all speculation, but with a beautiful field in Camden available, it seems likely that some New York Penn League ownership group in an underperforming market is going to really strongly consider the move to Camden and therefore add yet another state to the New York Penn League, which already has, I think, 6 states right now. So the New York Penn is very much a misnomer at this point, but they're not going to make it the New York Penn, Ohio, Vermont, Massachusetts, et cetera, league.
There's only a couple of leagues that are geographically named that stick with that like the Cal League is fine, the Florida State League is fine. Everybody else, the Texas League, like they're all over the place there in Oklahoma and Arkansas. We're not accurate anymore. Sam, fire away.
Yeah, so after we've looked back so far, but kind of looking forward, you're going to the winter meetings next week in Nashville. You're going to have a couple new job seekers this year. That's one of your series every year. You bring a bunch of new talent looking for jobs down at the winter meetings. What is this crop looking like?
Yeah, so my winter meetings angle in general, is you go to the winter meetings and you see these hordes of media, and they're all writing almost all about the major league side and the player moves, and obviously that's the big sexy stuff that goes down. But I'm just trying to cover more the nuts and bolts of what's really happening that most people are focusing on that might not be as exciting. And of course, one of those elements is the PBEO job fair, where hundreds of people every year come to the winter meetings trying to get their foot in the door. And since 2012, I've recruited 4 job seekers to write about their experiences, and it's become something I really enjoy doing. Recruiting these individuals and then getting to know them during the winter meetings, giving them a platform to tell their stories, and it's so competitive that it can really only help, to be telling your story every day and having people in the industry, at least some of them certainly following along. So this year I've got a new crop of job seekers. They'll be debuted on Friday, right around the time this podcast goes live. So got 4 this year, and I think it's a pretty interesting group. We have a guy, Jim Angel. I've never said these people's names out loud, so I hope I'm pronouncing their names right. But this guy Jim is 52 years old, got laid off from a corporate job that he worked at for almost 2 decades, and he's committed to restarting his life in baseball and relocating and obviously taking a pay cut and everything that entails. So I think he should be an interesting story. We have a woman named Tori Payne, who's kind of from the Nashville area, recent attendee of the Diversity Symposium hosted right in the Nashville area as well. We have a real strong marketing background. We have a man named Will Prevett, who achieved viral fame a few years back when he stormed the court in his wheelchair at, I believe, an NC State game, got knocked over and then saved by one of the players, and that became a viral story. So we get to see what he's up to. And we have a young man, a Vince Scully acolyte, who seems very wise beyond his years, David Lauterbach, I believe is how you would say his name. I'll learn all this in Nashville. You look at his picture, and he looks barely out of high school, but his writing is really impressive, and he seems one to watch. And Tyler, you've got the broadcasting background. I like to include at least one broadcaster in every job seeker journal, and that's in a hyper-competitive industry, that might even be the most competitive job. So all through the week, we'll have a story on MiLB.com on Friday introducing all these people, and then all through the winter meetings, they'll be providing daily updates on their experience on my blog, Ben's Biz Blog.
It's a fascinating thing. I went to the winter meetings to try to find a job. My senior year in college, I actually went, and it's a very cool place to watch a whole bunch of 22-year-olds in brand new suits from Men's Warehouse run around. So it's if you get a chance, if you're looking for a job in baseball and you get a chance to go, it's a really cool experience. And follow Benjamin Hillies on Twitter at Ben's Biz, and you can follow the blog, bensbiz.mlblogs.com, and of course that stuff coming up on MiLB.com as well. Ben and I also solved all the world's problems on our walk to the office from the L train today, so it was good to do that with you.
We did. America is on the upswing now that we had a heart-to-heart talk about the problems afflicting our nation and what we're going to do about it. So look forward to an era of world peace coming soon.
Vote Hillmon 2020. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Putting a fitting Christmas bow on the 35th edition, or whatever we determine it is, of Minor League Baseball Show Before the Show podcast. Tyler Ron, Sam Dykstra. So cool to get a chance to talk to Mike Hessman, and he was you could tell that he just spoke with the relief of a guy who knows that he's closed the book on it.
Yeah, hopefully you guys could hear it wherever you're listening to this. But having talked to him in the past, talked to him in the middle of the season, and then hearing him yesterday, it sounded like so much was off his shoulders. And I think the funniest moment of that was just hearing his excitement of talking about golf.
Yeah.
He's officially a retired person.
Golf and not going to the gym.
Yeah, I got in 36 hours or 36 holes of golf. I'm good. That's all I need. Congrats again to him, and we thank him very much for joining us. That was a great interview.
Yeah, big congratulations to Mike. And for Benjamin Hill, headed off to the winter meetings. We're really anxious to read the Job Seeker Journals, which, of course, you can find on MiLB.com this week and next. The story about who those people will be, obviously, coming out. We're recording this on Thursday. We'll have this to you on Friday, so you can check out the profiles of the 2015 job seekers, and their journals will be forthcoming as well. And if you are headed to the winter meetings, enjoy. We'll have some more discussion and conversation with Ben, obviously, about that as the show before the show moves into the month of December, and which is ridiculous. We're also, of course, obviously in the middle of hot stove season. Undoubtedly, we will have more things to be talking about as it comes to prospects who are probably going to be headed to some different locales, because that is a thing that comes along with the winter meetings and along with this time of year. So, that's the exciting part about this. It's also, I would imagine, one of the stressful parts of this season for prospects, for guys who could potentially be in that situation. We've seen the stories. Who are the guys who are likely or possibly could be traded? So it comes with a little bit of craziness for those guys too right now.
Yeah, I can just imagine what it was like for Manuel Margot.
Yeah.
That his name was bandied around a lot, and then you have that Band-Aid pulled off when he got traded. So maybe we'll talk later in the offseason with some of these guys, just hearing what it's like to go through that process. And you can imagine what it's like when you're a major leaguer, because your name is on MLB trade rumors all the time. But now when you're seen as a piece, as an asset, that type of thing, it's a completely different experience.
Before we get booted out of this room, Sam, it is so good to do a podcast with you.
Yeah, I know. This was fun.
This is a good one today.
Yeah.
Riding in the train with Ben and getting him to sit next to you, and 45 minutes of computer problems later. No, it was a good one. And until next week, when, again, we'll have some more winter meetings discussion and all that. This was a pleasure, as always.
Yes, and if you're going to Nashville, enjoy all the barbecue for us.
Yeah, have fun with the barbecue and the blues music, and go check out the home of the Nashville Sounds, because we've heard that it is amazing for those of us who haven't been there yet. So until next week, enjoy winter meeting time around the world of baseball, and we'll talk to you then.